Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Sam from Historic Travels and welcome to another video. And as always, before we get started today, I'd just like to take a quick moment to welcome all my new subs and to thank everybody who's been leaving me comments and messages down below. Thank you all so much, I really appreciate it. And if you would like to take a couple extra steps to help support the channel a little bit more, there's a merch store and a Patreon for this channel in the links below. Thank you all so much for all your support. Alright everybody, well hey, the time has finally come to continue the story of the Titanic sister ship, the HMHS Britannic. When we last left the Britannic, she had just finished her construction process and the ship was just now getting ready to enter service as a hospital ship during the First World War. Alright everybody, well hey, without any further ado, let's continue the story of the Britannic. On December 12, 1915, the HMHS Britannic was officially declared fit for duty and ready to begin her career as a hospital ship. At this time, all the personnel needed to run the Britannic began making their way to the vessel. Once all the personnel were on board, the Britannic would have a grand total of 101 nurses on board. There would be 336 non-commissioned officers on board, as well as 52 commissioned officers. There would also be a crew of 675 personnel on board the ship. It would take all of these people in order to help run the Britannic and allow her to serve her country as a hospital ship. The captain of the Britannic was a man by the name of Charles Bartlett, a longtime veteran of the White Star Line. He first joined the company in 1894. He was a well-liked and well-respected captain. His crew even had a nickname for him. They liked to call him Iceberg Charlie because he had a strange ability to detect, or predict I should say, the location of icebergs even before they were visible on whatever ship he was sailing on. Now, even though the Britannic was officially declared fit for duty on December 12, 1915, it would still take around 2 weeks before the vessel was officially ready to head out to sea. They needed that time to get all of the supplies on board the Britannic, and they also needed that time to load up all of the ship's personnel. The Britannic left Liverpool on her maiden voyage on December 23, 1915, bound for the town of Mudrose on the island of Lemnos in the Aegean Sea. Her purpose for going to that town was to bring home wounded soldiers who were hurt fighting in the First World War. Now, something pretty cool happened to the Britannic while this vessel was sailing on its maiden voyage. The route of the Britannic happened to line up with 3 other really famous ships, so for a while, all of these ships ended up sailing together with each other. These ships included the Britannic's very own sister ship, the RMS Olympic, and it also included the RMS Mauretania, as well as its sister ship, the RMS Aquitania. So all 4 of these ships ended up sailing with each other for a period of time. Can you just imagine how cool that must have been to anybody who was sailing on these ships to see all of these famous vessels sailing side by side with each other? And to be honest with you, I believe that if the RMS Titanic and the RMS Lusitania hadn't have sunk, that these ships would also have been sailing with all these other vessels. Now, before the Britannic could make it successfully to Mudrose, the ship had to make a quick stop in the city of Naples, located in the country of Italy, in order to restock on coal. Fun fact about the city of Naples. Do you see that giant mountain in the background of this picture? Well, that mountain is actually a volcano. This volcano is known as Mount Vesuvius, and it's the exact same volcano that erupted in the year AD 79, completely burying and destroying the city of Pompeii. Now, even though the Britannic and Pompeii have absolutely nothing to do with each other, I still think it's kind of eerie that the Britannic happened to visit the area at which Pompeii was at, given we know the ultimate fate of the Britannic. But anyway, after the Britannic got restocked on coal, the ship continued on to Mudrose, where it picked up all the wounded soldiers that they had, and then the vessel proceeded back to the UK to get all of these soldiers home, where they could try to recover from their injuries. Now, once the Britannic successfully made it back to the UK and dropped off the wounded soldiers, the vessel would remain in the UK for the next few weeks, serving as just a floating hospital. The Britannic was parked off the coast of the island of Wight, and this is where the vessel would remain for a while, performing her duty as just a hospital. But then, as the First World War continued to rage on and casualties continued to mount, the Britannic services were needed to help out with an evacuation at the location of Dardanelles, and I apologize if I didn't say that right. So, on March 20th, 1916, the Britannic fired up her engines and once again proceeded into the war zone. Now, once the Britannic was successful in evacuating those soldiers and getting them back to the UK, something pretty unexpected happened to the Britannic. The British Admiralty told the White Star Line that once the Britannic returned home, they would no longer need the ship to serve as a hospital vessel, and it was okay if the White Star Line wanted to begin the process of converting the ship back into a passenger liner. The White Star Line was thrilled and they said, yes, absolutely. So at this time, the British Admiralty paid the White Star Line £75,000 in order to help assist them with the price of converting the ship back into a passenger liner. Once this was done, the Britannic proceeded to the shipyard of Holland and Wolff in Belfast, Ireland, where the conversion process began, and it would continue on uninterrupted for the next few months. But it wasn't meant to be. After a few months of this, the British Admiralty contacted the White Star Line and told them they would need the Britannic once again to serve as a hospital ship, and they brought the ship back into service, serving the military once again. Man, that's such a bummer. Just think about this for a second. If the British Admiralty hadn't have recalled the Britannic, then it's quite possible that the Britannic would have never sunk and she would have been able to fulfill her original purpose of being a passenger liner. But unfortunately, that wasn't meant to be, because the British Admiralty needed the ship once again, so unfortunately she was converted back into a hospital ship and then once again proceeded back into the war zone. The Britannic officially returned to duty on the 26th of August, 1916, and then she sailed back to the Mediterranean Sea to be able to assist with the war effort. And honestly, for the next few months, life was pretty routine on board the Britannic. No real major incidents did happen to the ship during this time period. There was one evening where the Britannic did encounter a pretty severe storm, but the ship got through it without any major incidents occurring. Life on board the Britannic followed a pretty strict routine while she was serving as a hospital ship. You have to remember, she's a hospital ship, not a luxury ocean liner. Basically what happened each and every day was at 6 o'clock in the morning the patients were woken up and their premises were cleaned. Breakfast was served on board the Britannic at 6:30 a.m. and then the captain toured the entire ship doing an inspection of the vessel. Lunch was served at 12:30 p.m. and tea was served at 4:30 p.m. Patients were treated between meals, and those who wished to go up on the boat deck to have a walk were welcome to do so. At 8:30 p.m., all the patients went to bed, and then the captain did another tour or inspection of the entire vessel. Now, by the time November of 1916 had rolled around, the HMHS Britannic had successfully completed 5 voyages in and out of the Mediterranean Sea, successfully evacuating wounded soldiers and returning them home to the UK. However, on November 12, 1916, the Britannic services were needed once again, and she was ordered to proceed to the island of Lemnos, where she would pick up more wounded soldiers and return them home to the UK. The Britannic left Southampton, and the first part of the voyage went without incident. The Britannic arrived once again in the city of Naples on November 17, 1916 for her usual refueling stop. However, while the Britannic was in port, a severe storm moved in, which kept the Britannic from leaving the port for several days. And then, in the afternoon on November 19, 1916, a break in the weather finally occurred, which allowed the Britannic to successfully leave the city of Naples and proceed on towards the island of Lemnos. However, what everybody on board the Britannic didn't realize is that ultimately, the Britannic would never reach the island of Lemnos. Alright everybody, well hey, I think this is a good place to pause the Britannic timeline series for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure you leave it a like, be sure to subscribe, and make sure you tune in for the next and final episode of the Britannic timeline series, where we finally talk about what happened during the sinking of the HMHS Britannic. Thank you all so much for watching. You all are awesome, and thank you all so much for all your support. I could not do it without you. Alright everybody, well hey, you all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day everybody. Special thanks to our Captain Level Patreon supporters, Greg Gallick and Callum Whaley. Thank you guys so much for all the support.